Wow, clear, open miracles are happening right now in the Holy Land. Our daughter Cyril is in Tzfat, and she was supposed to come home today. She's supposed to fly to California after coming home and be a head counselor in a camp. But she's, of course, in Israel. There's no flights in or out, and mostly no flights out. And we're trying to see how we can get her back home and to camp. So we're very in touch with what's happening there, and we keep on tabs, and we have our alerts on our phones, watching when they have to go to the shelter, making sure she gets to the shelter on time. It's been, of course, very anxious. She's been very anxious and watching what's happening. So last night we got an alert, and I alerted her to go to the shelter, and she tells me she hears the booms from the missiles that are coming in from Iran, and the booms are unusual. It wasn't like it was ever before. She's seen them before, heard them before. This time it's different, much more powerful booms. Thank God most of them were intercepted, but a few hit, and they say a few hit in Ramat Gan and in other places. And they say, after examining them and watching the impact, they realized that these missiles had smaller bombs on them, so when they hit and when they on impact, more bombs go off. And as we're watching, we got news that in a hospital in Be'er Sheva, Soroka Hospital in Be'er Sheva, had a direct hit, and it looked devastating. The broken, shattered glass and the walls and things flying all over looked horrible. There's a video of the actual impact. And of course, Israel was bracing for mass casualties. But unbelievable. While there were some injuries, thank God there were no casualties, not even one casualty from all these missiles that landed, massive missiles, ballistic missiles coming from Iran. And they realized that someone decided to evacuate that part of the hospital just yesterday. All this time they were there. Someone had an inkling, someone had a reason to evacuate them. In fact, on the other hand, the government had eased restrictions of where people could move because they thought they had it somewhat under control. They knew where things are landing and when it's coming, and how, as long as people are aware, they started easing up on the restrictions, and yet these people evacuated the day before. This is an open miracle. They didn't intercept the missile. The missile actually landed, hit a hospital, and thank God, no casualties. Today, 2,831 years ago, a miracle happened with Iran, in Persia. It was the famous story of Purim, when there was a decree of annihilation against the Jewish people in all 127 countries under the Persian Empire, which basically was the entire world at that time. There was no escape. They were going to be annihilated in one day. And of course the Jews prayed and fasted, and Esther entreated the king Ahasuerus, and Haman was hanged, but the decree still stood. There was going to be a day where everyone is going to gather against the Jewish people, and the Jews still couldn't defend themselves. A few months after Esther entreated Ahasuerus, a few months after Haman was hanged, finally they convinced Ahasuerus, the king, to allow the Jews to defend themselves, allow the Jews to take up arms and defend themselves on the same very day that they were supposed to be annihilated. This happened a few months after the hanging, as I mentioned. It happened today, the 23rd of Sivan. If you look at the story and narrative of Esther, it says Mordechai and Esther wrote for the Jewish people that they could, and the king sealed the decree that the Jews could defend themselves. This happened today. And in the Torah, the story continues. The story of Esther continues. La Yehudim hayta ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar. The Jewish people had light, happiness, joy, and honor. Famous words that we say every Saturday night. When we do make Havdalah, we ask God that it should be a beautiful week. It should be joy, light, happiness, and honor. This is the day. Today we should be happy. Today we should be joyful. Today we should be honored. As our sages say, more mitzvahs and more mitzvahs. God is showing us incredible miracles. May all the miracles come to the conclusion of all miracles. May we experience the ultimate miracle, the miracle of the coming of Mashiach, where the world will be a peaceful world, and honor and glory for the Jewish people and for Hashem himself. Shabbat Shalom, and continue to be joyous and belief, and let's continue to see miracles.